Tibet, a country which, since it was invaded by Mao Zedong's Red Army in 1951, has become the Autonomous Region of Tibet, a Chinese province. An immense country cut off and closed in on itself. A government in exile headed by the Dalai Lama, one of the world's most sensitive spots. Lhasa, a capital with an incredible past, today completely changed, only recently opened up to the rest of the world and the market economy. Here, Nima Tsering, a Tibetan, is the originator of one of the most daring projects ever undertaken in Tibet. He is a Khampa, one of the tribes that fought tooth and nail against the Red Army. Nima is from a middle-class Tibetan family that was dispossessed by the communists. Starting from scratch, an avid mountaineer, today he is an expedition leader for the Tibetan Mountaineering Association, sponsored by the Chinese Ministry of Sports. Charismatic and ambitious, he owns 2 mountain climbing shops in Lhasa. Nima's project is to found the first school in Tibet for high mountain guides, a project which will enable him to fulfill 2 goals. 1, give jobs to young Tibetans who for the moment have no other alternatives than poverty and idleness. And 2, develop the long-term mountaineering and tourism market.
Person from East Tibet, Kham area. I'm a Khamba.
I come from Khampa in eastern Tibet. I am a Khampa. I came to Lhasa when I was 13. Khampa are rough, slightly wild people, and they like doing business.
I
got the idea of founding a mountaineering school because all rescue work for high-altitude expeditions is done by the Nepalese.
From Nepal, so deeply from 3 years ago.
We started the project of the Tibetan High Mountain School 3 years ago. Since then, I've been busy with the school.
Since the school opened, problems have stacked up. Problems with the Chinese authorities, a lack of teachers, and, most of all, lack of funds. The future is jeopardized at every moment. More bad luck, a student has injured his leg. Once he has recovered, Nima goes to fetch him from his parents' home in Tsako, a village near Everest, a trip along a trail that crosses the Tibetan Plateau. This particular morning, with Nima's announced arrival, Pemba's family starts preparing for the grand occasion. They have butchered a sheep. To accompany the meal, a little tea and tsampa, the Tibetan staple food made from toasted barley.
My name is Pemba Tundrup. I come from the village of Seko in the Tingri region. I'm 22. There are 7 of us at home. My mother, my father, my uncle, my sister, me, as well as a brother and a younger sister. My father and mother are farmers. I started school at 9. As we had money problems, I had to drop out for 2 years and stay at home. On February 25th last year, I was lucky enough to get into Tibet's mountain climbing school in Lhasa.
By coming to get Pemba after his unfortunate accident, Nima is giving him another chance to escape the hard life of the Tibetan villages. Among thousands of poor children, Pemba shares this luck with only 20 other young men whom Nima has chosen to be the school's first class.
Since his departure, have there been any problems for work?
No problem. We managed amongst ourselves, left and right.
How was the harvest this year?
All right, but because of fertilizers, the fields are the worst for wear.
Do you have any other resources?
Yeah, we got some sheep.
In these empty, cold valleys at over 4,000 meters in altitude, the difficult living conditions of the Pemba family have remained practically unchanged for centuries. Once semi-nomadic, now sedentary, they still live without amenities or access to basic health care. Like the Tendrups, all the country dwellers, about 81% of the population, are among the world's poorest peoples. After over 50 years, the Chinese presence has improved nothing. Persecuted under Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution, which claimed over 1 million victims, or a fifth of the population, Tibetan peasants must now face up to the disastrous consequences of the massive deforestation campaigns and planned agricultural policies. Farmers, forced to make intensive use of fertilizers, have seen their land become nearly barren and lose its productivity, which has added to the destruction of the traditional economy and social structures. Previously, becoming farmers, herders, or yak drivers was in the natural scheme of things. At present, the jobless youth migrate to towns and the dead end of unemployment. Today, the Tibetans are the outcasts of Chinese economic growth. Being included in Lhasa's high mountain guide school is an extraordinary chance for all these nearly illiterate children. But at the entrance to the National Sports Center where the school is located, a sign shows the context in which they hope to try their luck.
We're going to become the kind of person you want to be, or these things involve making choice. 荣获者人获里应该对此西藏登山队是一支英雄的队伍。
To have a chance to succeed, the students must first renounce their mother tongue, which is taught only somewhere in primary school.
然后呢，你比如说你要到电影院去，你看电影了，人家都开场了，或者说还没有开场，你的位置在中间。
We're definitely in Tibet, but all the courses are taught in Chinese, the official language that they don't know very well.
以后那个每一个字，你先分开想一下，查字典查一下，好古的好算，怎么讲？看这个写一句。
In Tibet, no project is possible without the blessings of the Chinese government, which funds half the school's expenses. The rest is paid for by Liwakos Overseas, a multinational company from Hong Kong that sells sports equipment under various internationally known brands. Hans Schallenberger, a Swiss citizen, is the manager. By supporting the school, he hopes to develop his market in China and Tibet, where tourism potential is extraordinary.
Nima told me about his idea of creating a school for the youth here. And of course, there's something in it for us, because here in Tibet, you've got everything you could want in the way of mountains, and There are a lot of people, either foreigners or Chinese, who pass through Tibet and need these kinds of products.
My name is
I'm Tsering. I'm 21 now.
I'm now 21 years old.
My name is Pema. I come from Komkatar. Me, English. I'm learning English.
I come from Tingri.
I come from Tingri. I'm Nawang Tashi, and I'm 16. What I want from this school is to study and work on theory and technique. One day I want to become a high mountain guide or a mountaineering instructor.
But starting from nothing, will all the students have the resources to become high mountain guides? On the teaching side, there is a lack of know-how. Nima does his best and invites Gompo to talk to the students about his experience. Gompo is a Tibetan pioneer in the Himalayas, a star in China, an Asian Hillary. He was the first in 1960 to climb Everest by the northern route on an expedition that claimed many lives.
Tell me, Nima, where does that wall come from?
China.
Ah, from China.
Yes, yes,
Is it concrete?
yes.
Ah, specially made in concrete. And this fellow there, is he going on the expedition too?
Yes, he'll be going to.
Is he from Switzerland? He's your sponsor.
Yes, he gives us quite a bit of money.
How much?
20,000 euros a year.
Ah, not too bad.
All the students dream about becoming famous like Gompo. His photos cover the walls of mountain climbing museums in the Himalayas.
We didn't know a thing about Everest. A lot of people really suffered during the expeditions. Some broke their arms and legs. Others died. On May the 25th, 1960, 3 climbers got to the top. Me and 2 others. It was wonderful. We planted the flag of our country, China, at the top. It was a great moment for me. Then I met Mao and a lot of other prominent Chinese officials, politicians, writers. The year when your father came, 40 other young Tibetan climbers went to Everest. We had already been there. They said, "Is that your mountain? It's not very steep. Tomorrow we'll get to the top." When they began to climb the next day, they shot themselves. It was hard for them. Halfway up, they turned back.
But the times of the great Chinese expeditions are over. And even in the holy city of Lhasa, other heroes with makeup and sequins also fascinate young people who are short on freedom and exotic things. With new eyes, the students also discover Lhasa and the splendors of Tibetan Buddhism. Surprise, now empty of its monks, the magical Potala of the ancient Forbidden City offers its hidden treasures to cowboy hat-wearing Chinese tourists. Nearly 150,000 visitors come to Tibet every year, bringing $51 million to China. Another surprise. The ancient city with its unique architecture has been almost entirely razed. Thousands of Chinese settlers looking for easy pickings now populate a modern city, and in the windows of their shops turn prayer scrolls into trophies of effortless adventures. At the Barkor market in what remains of the old city, one of the 3 divine pilgrimages circles around Jokang Temple. The students are spellbound. Here, fleeting gestures and looks reassure them about the fervor of young Tibetans and their gut-level attachment to a millennia-old religion. Because everyone in Tibet dreams of making a pilgrimage to Lhasa to gaze at the statue of Buddha Jowo at Jokang Temple, thereby ensuring reincarnation on a higher plane. More than anyone else, Sonam wanted to come to Lhasa, Mecca for the Tibetans.
There are a lot of people in the village who would like to come to Lhasa. They either couldn't or died before they could. I was lucky to come when I was young. Now I'm in the school, and life will be easier for me. And I want to stay in Lhasa.
For months at a time, and since time immemorial, determined pilgrims gather in the wind and cold to converge face down at the Holy of Holies. What do 50 years of Chinese presence in this country amount to, where everything is impermanent when compared to 800 years of Tibetan Buddhism? Like the amazed pilgrims, the mountaineering students watched the Jokang ceremonies with children's eyes. In this inner courtyard, turned into a pigsty during the Cultural Revolution, the walls still echo to the great monastic debates of the past. The few monks who remain remember that in 1987, back home after 18 years of forced exile in China, the Panchen Lama dared to provoke the fury of the authorities by paying tribute to the Dalai Lama. Faced with such a major spiritual force, the iconoclastic and perhaps clueless Chinese government has banned the Dalai Lama's photograph since 1999, punishable with imprisonment. The repression of the monks may continue, but in this capital that grows daily, other pictures and other gods invade the streets, business and advertising. With new glass-fronted buildings, Chinese-style communism seems to be looking more and more like free market capitalism. As tourists visit a city of high-rise public buildings, from their beauty salons, thousands of prostitutes also dream of Western-style fortunes. Pema Tundrup, Awang Tashi and their friends visit the nightlife on Tiananmen Square across from the Potala, where ceremonies of a bygone era are staged, although no one really believes in them anymore. Just around the corner from there, other things are popular. This is where students hang out. Chinese singer performs a hit song in Hindi in front of a portrait of the Panchen Lama. Tibet is opening up for the first time. Developing the tourist trade is one thing, but becoming a high mountain guide requires many skills, and Nima's team is pretty sorely lacking. So it has called for help from the volunteer instructors of the FFME, a French mountaineering organization that has close ties with the army and is funded by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It is a Franco-Chinese project in Tibet that is severely criticized in the West, but goes back to the Cold War.
In 1981, with a group from the French army, with the Chinese government and myself, we went to Everest. But as the weather was poor, the expedition failed. So I'm hoping that someday we will be able to do Everest with the French army.
As the school is lacking in instructors and equipment, the French guides have brought a whole batch of equipment gathered in a collection drive. For the first time, the students see what climbing boots look like.
I think these shoes are very good.
You should try them. Put them on and see.
Out and try it, okay?
They're really happy. A whole bunch of stuff has arrived, but when you look a bit closer, it's still not masses. They don't yet all have a pair of climbing boots, and they don't all have a harness that fits, and they are far from all having crampons and ice axes.
We are very happy.
Yeah, we are ready for mountain.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do a summit.
Yes.
At 6 kilometers from the capital, just above the infamous prison of Lhasa, the French guides have selected a hard granite site, perfect for climbing. Just above the face is one of the many monasteries sacked and burned by the Red Guards of the Cultural Revolution. Over 200 monks lived up there. Today, only a small building has been rehabilitated.
Is that the monastery over there?
Yes, it was like that before.
It's very beautiful.
Yes, it is very beautiful, yes.
Was it painted by a monk?
Yes. There, where you have ruins today, that's this bit here.
We climb over here. Before there was a stupa here.
Yes.
They must have spent a lot of energy to build it.
One day, my father went to the Tupten Cheling Monastery to receive instructions from his master, the Rinpoche Troshig. The Rinpoche told him to stay in the monastery and greet pilgrims, and to take care of the rooms, candles, and the maintenance. It's been 9 years now that my father has lived there.
Sonam's father enjoys the rare privilege of living his faith near his family. But others, brothers, sisters, relatives, are spread out on either side of the Himalayas. Between those who fled to Nepal and those who stayed in Tibet, communication is difficult, sometimes even impossible.
Okay. You want to finish the boulder? Okay. Slowly. You see, you have also for your feet there.
The idea of going to teach the Tibetans, it's obviously a cause everyone knows about, by heart. And as aware of it as you might be, you always feel a little useless. Hey, we know what's going on there. But the fact of working, of giving something real to the young people, I think that's worthwhile. Better than twiddling your thumbs and demonstrating in the street. That seems pointless to me. I'd rather be here and see the young people. It's really exciting.
Despite the enthusiasm, at the end of the course there'll be an exam, which has already opened the door to hope of a better life with work in Tibet, or a course for further training in France. But in the field, everything remains to be done for these young men to one day become guides. They've got no basic notions or general culture.
These kids are from Everest, Tingri, and the Nyalam Shisha.
These boys come from Everest, Tingri, Nyalam, or the Shisha Pangma region.
In the mountain area.
And because there are mountainous regions, the kids are more interested in mountains than the ones coming from other Tibetan areas.
Other country in Tibet. So I hope.
So I'm hoping that some of them can become guides and that we'll do good business in these
We
mountains.
have a very good business in mountains.
Okay, keep your arms under like this for for security.
When I lived at home, I was a herder. It rained sometimes or snowed, and there was a lot of wind. It was hard. One day I was watching my sheep and wolves came. They ate 2 of my sheep. I was discouraged. I went down to the lake where some friends were swimming. That reassured me. I felt better. I like to climb. If I die climbing, that's okay. I'm not too worried.
I cooked for the Westerners on expedition. I'm married to a woman who has another husband. Tsering Tashi, her second husband, is often on expedition as a cook. And I'm not at home either. My parents still work in the fields and at home. In fact, we're never there. And when the work is still just as hard, that's why a lot of young people leave to make money some other way. And the parents stay to work the fields. So we haven't got much income. There's only Tsering Tashi's salary. When he returns to the village, he supports everyone. Right now, I haven't got a salary. I just do minor chores around the house. I even have to think about the matches I use. But if I become a good Sherpa, and if I earn a good living, I'll give everything to my family, and I'll take care of everything. If we keep on like this, in 10 years' time, we can set up a little business, and everything will be a little easier. In Tibet, we're poor. But now with China, there are a lot of things to do. Shops, supermarkets. For a year, I worked in a monastery shop. Business was good, but I earned €1 a day. All profits went to the monastery. There were a lot of visitors, guides, and foreigners. When I arrived, there was €3,000 of stock. When I left, we made €30,000 in sales, but I still only earned €1 a day.
As children of herders, and having been put to work very young, the students already have families they're responsible for, and start their course with the French from zero.
We're going to do a Mickey Mouse knot. It's a figure-8 knot with 2 ears.
You have the 2 first, like this.
The trainees are practicing, and the Minister for Sport, member of the Communist Party, is visiting their climbing site. Chinese authorities could end this school initiative at any moment. The visit is therefore a kind of test for Nima, who wants to show that it is possible to use it as a model for wider practices.
These people are very brave to come here and climb the mountains. We are thinking of continuing this school project because mountaineering in Tibet has a rosy future. We must train a new generation. The old Chinese mountaineers are too old now. In our partnership, we have teachers, and we can provide the areas. But on the founding level, we'd love it if our French partner could help us.
It's nice, we did a good job. We finally fitted our left sector. 6 routes have been finished. They can climb in leader or top rope. And here too it's almost finished.
At 4,000 meters in altitude, this climbing site above Lhasa is one of the world's highest, but also the first in Tibet.
Tashipitsu, have you got a screw-gate carabiner for the top? Remember, you need one.
You have one?
Have you got one? Yes? No? You don't. Look. You've got to take one.
A paradox. These young Tibetans, who have almost all gone above 7,000 meters with expeditions, are discovering modern climbing techniques for the first time, and with a few scares.
From time to time, I dream I'm climbing, and then I fall. And when I fall, I'm very afraid.
First doubts and first falls. Very quickly, this begs a question. Will a 1-month course be enough to transform these young recruits into responsible guides?
Are you okay?
They aren't very briefed yet. We haven't done any briefings. There's no one to monitor them. Right, they're all glad we finished the routes, but I'm still a little nervous in any case.
If I let you do any old thing, we won't get any donations afterwards. So what can we do? I've heard a lot of people say that your school is fine, that the students do a lot of silly things, this and that. I'm even more nervous than you. I can't even sleep at night. At night, I keep thinking about the future. How can we find answers? Do you want to return to your villagers or what? If journalists ask questions, explain what you're doing, how you're learning, and how you've got here. You've got to say that when you were little, you saw Westerners climbing in Tibet and that you liked it, and no more than that.
Journalists have been invited to help promote the school and its teaching methods. Nima is making his final suggestions before the demonstration.
Tibetan youth really like to climb. This school is very good. We're going to publicize it. The French who have come are excellent instructors. They've got sophisticated equipment. What's more, they teach really well. It's good for the kids. Afterwards, these young people can set out for Everest.
I think that this training course is just the start. and it'll be worthwhile in the long run.
If we jump from up there, we're going to die.
Okay. I think you're not good. Search. You are probable harm. It's probable harm.
Me? Try? No, I wouldn't know how. I don't have those kind of skills at all. At first, I was afraid. But just when I was going to jump, I wasn't afraid. But it didn't do any good.
During the initial weeks of the training course, the young men made contact, a little roughly, with the reality of the job of a high mountain guide. Chinese love songs are a good balm for stiff muscles. But an important test is planned and counts for the final exam, that is to say, a high-altitude expedition. 25 people to shelter and feed for 4 days. A meeting in Lhasa's first supermarket just across from the Potala. With a €50,000 annual budget, funds are low.
About 300 kilos of equipment, tents, and sleeping bags. If there isn't enough money, I'm going to make up the difference. It's a fairly sizable sum. From the point of view of the school.
Today, my buddies are setting out on expedition with the French. I'm sad to be staying behind. I hope I can get over this illness as soon as possible. When I went to Everest, on the first way down, my lungs hurt. I went 16 days like that. I didn't say anything to the expedition leader. When I got back to Lhasa, I learned I had tuberculosis.
It's the end of the road for Nima Tsering. He is taken back to his village. Luck has passed him by. For the others, the expedition begins and the competition continues. In Tibet, you don't climb the holy mountains. Maybe that's why, just before the expedition, minds are filled with contemplation and apprehension.
Likewise, in the land of snow there are, in the west, Mount Kailash, holy place of the body. In the middle, Lake Namso Chugmo, holy place of the word. In the east, Mount Sari, holy place of the spirit. Sublime places of the body, word, and spirit. Outside, the great lake with unknown depths and contours. Inside, the incommensurable palace of the god.
Legend has it that all of Tibet is in fact a goddess lying down, and that the mountains are the culminating points of her body. The monasteries were placed there with the sole purpose of calming her anger through prayer. It is in this spirit of respect for the gods that base camp was pitched after a whole day's journey to the very confines of Bhutan. At last, they can try to imitate the old mountain hands. Pema takes meticulous care in painting the pennant that'll be taken to the top, in Chinese and Tibetan. Then, at 4,800 meters in altitude, a lullaby puts the holy mountains calmly to sleep.
Tomorrow, I have to get up at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a very important day, a nice climbing course. I had a dream last night. I was on a snow bridge, and I couldn't get across it. I thought about how to get over it, but I couldn't manage it. I was very disappointed. I was afraid of failing.
The nearness of the test makes the trainees' fears grow greater. Tomorrow, the mountain will designate the winners.
Get to the top? It's not easy for me, because I'm not as strong as the others. But I like to climb a lot, so at any rate, I'm going to try.
Pennant in the lead as on great expeditions, the young men start their siege of the 6,000 meters of the goddess Changsar, Changsar Lamo in Tibetan. A few hours later, victory. The Chinese flag and the pennant are at the top. But there are only 10 young men in the photo.
It wasn't high. It only took me 2 hours, and I came back down like a bolt of lightning. This mountain is quite small, not like Everest.
I couldn't climb. My feet and hands were so cold. And Nima told me to wait below. I couldn't try my luck.
Today I was lucky enough to get to Changsar Lamo, but I couldn't reach the top. The goddess Changsar spurned me, but I'm not sorry.
What we're trying to do today is to review what happened during the expedition. So how could you find your way through this very, very complicated, it's almost a labyrinth-like of a situation. How did you find your way?
The Westerners and the Chinese interpreter don't know who the goddess Changsar is, she who guided the students in the maze. But no matter, it's the course's final exam. In the meeting room of the Tibetan Mountain Association, everyone becomes a little more aware of the importance of what's at stake. But before the decisive exam, Nima wants his students to do one last real-life experiment for their job. For a few hours, they will act as guides for 2 children from Tibet's only school for the blind.
Oh, these guys are great. This guy has been, this is the one that's been swapped, huh? It's just amazing. And now in wintertime, we'll bring them home to their villages. But Tashi we cannot bring home because we don't know where his parents are. They just, left him. Before he was selected for a scholarship to go to Beijing because he's a very bright boy. And then he became blind and his parents put him away in a dark room.
The school was founded by Sabir, his girlfriend. She visited Tibet and was struck by the number of blind children. Sabir is blind herself. She's also German. She's our friend from another country. A while back, she returned here to help Tibet's blind children. So we invited them here today. Once you've finished with your set of tests, teach them how to climb onto the blocks.
When I was 9, there was eye disease in my village. I was sick. It got worse and worse. At the time, I was going to school, but it got worse. Sometimes I went to school, but I often stayed home. When it became really serious, I went to hospital. My eyes got better once, and I went back to school. But I had a relapse, and then I went blind.
When I saw these two kids who were climbing on these rocks, I was moved. It made me change my way of thinking. They haven't got eyes, and they climb on the blocks with a lot of effort and enormous courage. It made me think that I was nothing. It made me want to work even harder, to be more useful.
It's time for the final exam. Knot test, free climbing, sitting start, all the usual tests at this level are on the day's agenda.
There is chalk. You have to cross upper, okay? Upper.
After that, I'm going to do everything I can to succeed. Otherwise, I'll have nothing else to do.
In 5 years' time, I may become a mountain climber, but it's too early to tell yet. On the other hand, I'd like to marry a pretty woman and have a child. If I don't succeed, my whole life will become pointless. There'll be nothing left to do but cry.
Right. No like this. Okay? Easy.
Now you make a double fisherman, like for Prusik. Okay? Now.
Okay, finish.
It was easy. I got it all right.
The test results are in. No one has attained a good enough mark to be a guide. But 2 students will come to France for advanced training. 5 others will join the Tibetan Mountain Association. What about the others? Things are not very clear. At over 5,000 meters, will they someday be good enough to guide clients through this world of constant danger? For now, the young men are not concerned about their future. They talk about music, movie stars, and girls. As for Pema, he divulges the reason why he did not climb to the top of Changsar Lamo.
I am in a school to learn about the high mountain, but I am Tibetan. We have our traditions. We never climb the mountains, for they are holy. Those who don't respect them go against our culture.